It feels so good to come alive. You can't reach me here. You can't reach me here. Cause I'm on the other side. It's so peaceful here. It's so peaceful here. It feels so good. Yo. Welcome to the Other Side podcast. The first episode. This one is very special because I got my mother here with me. How you doing, Ma?
Hey, I'm good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. It's dope. Like we went to hot yoga this morning. That was dope.
Yes.
And at one point I looked back at you, and then I got a little emotional. And then so like one point of the class, like I didn't know if I was sweating or crying.
Wow.
Yeah, nah,
Wow.
for real. And I think that's beautiful, man. Like I'm bringing you to the other side. You know what I'm saying? And the other side is basically it's heaven. Like heaven is, you can create heaven in the mind. It's whatever you create in your mind, that's what your reality is going to be. So when I say the other side, I mean the other side of fear for me. But it can be whatever you want it to be. You can be on the other side of poverty. You can be on the other side of insecurity, anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Like basically all things that's fear. So yeah, man. That's what the other side. So welcome to the other side.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me as your first guest.
Yeah. And this podcast is just all about vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? Like being who you are, not who you think you should be. And yeah, I just want to touch like no shame, no guilt here. The theme here is this is a safe space. And we could touch on anything because this is healing somebody out there. Like somebody out there need to hear this. And our stories, our expression, our stories and our expression can save someone else's life. You know, and our spiritual gifts are developed through our pain. And I feel like when we share our pain, it brings healing for other people as well. So yeah. So I'm grateful to have you here. First time you come to stay with me.
Yes.
Yeah,
Love it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you wanna, you know what I'm saying, like introduce yourself and like who you are. And
I am Shawne Pressley. I'm C5's mom. Well, Christopher Presley's mom. Born and raised in the Bay Area. Raised him in the Bay Area. I have another son, Brandon, granddaughter, Amaya. I'm living in Atlanta, and I'm living an amazing, blessed life.
amazing. So like, I know I had a stepfather growing up, and my father was there. He was in and out, mostly in. But would you consider yourself like a single parent?
I always thought of myself as a married single woman because I felt the weight of taking care of two Black young boys and raising them to be God-fearing Black men, Christians, men. It was on my shoulders. So yeah, I always used to say I'm a single Black, married Black single mother. Yeah. And then it was interesting because you would refer to me as single and raising us, and I didn't know you felt the same way because you never heard me say it, but you saw it. You saw the sacrifice. You saw I was the nurturer. I was the disciplinarian. I was everything.
And how would you say? Yeah, like I agree. Like I always referred to you as a single parent, even though like I had a stepfather that was there for 18 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like even though he was there, I did still feel like you was a single parent. How was that? Like, how would you describe your experience as a single parent, raising two Black boys in Oakland, California? Like, how would you describe that experience?
It was extremely hard. I felt like I was against, it was me against the world, against Oakland against social media and trying to keep you and Brandon on the right track. I used to always say that um, before you two were born, there was two strikes against you. You were black and you were male. So I used to always tell you, you have to be exceptional all the time, even go over and beyond. And I don't know if you recall, I will always tell you that, you and Brandon. So I felt like it was very challenging. And um I would never give it up or have no regrets. But it's great if there's a strong man that can help in navigating and raising children, especially males. That would have been amazing for me.
Mm. So my brother, he's 3 years younger than me.
Hmm.
Um, do you feel like you had a different approach with me opposed to my younger brother? Or yeah, like how do you feel like there was any different approach with how you raised us?
No, my core values are what they are and what I
Mhm.
wanted to instill in you all. But everybody, you both are so different, and each of you needed. I could identify what was needed from me. You were more independent,
Mhm.
so your needs were different from Brandon. So no, I think my core nurturing and upbringing was the same. It was just a difference in your needs for me were different.
Because I did like, and I'm sure you recall. Like I know, like I would get in trouble or something like that, and I always be like, "Well, but like, what about what I'm saying?
Hmm.
What about my little brother?" And yeah, I just wanted to see like I did feel like I was treated like with more like you was on me harder. Like I had more like consequences. And so like yeah, so you said I was more independent, right? So like why like why do you think why I still feel like like you was just on me harder? Like you don't feel like at all like you was on me harder, like I had harder consequences, like
You did a lot more than Brandon. If you
right.
think about it, you've done a lot more. And I just recall growing you all growing up, and it just seemed like there was always something going on with you. And I didn't start actually getting having some issues with Brandon until he was probably in the 12th grade, and he just started, feeling like he the man or whatever.
And I
But
was already gone by then, right?
you were gone.
So do you feel like it was kind of like cuz you know how like I'm sure other people can relate this to this too. It's like the younger child kind of like fly by under the
Mhm.
radar.
Well,
Do you
I'm
feel
the
like that's
youngest,
true?
right? I'm the
Mm,
youngest, and my older sibling said I got away with a whole lot more than they did.
mm,
And that but the age difference with my siblings was larger than you and Brandon's, right? So but you do have to say that you got in a whole lot more trouble than
mm,
Brandon did, so the consequences are going to be different.
mm,
And you reminded me a lot more like me in the sense where you were very mouthy and just strong minded. And it's someone just had said it to me recently. It's like alpha male, alpha female. You've been alpha male for a while.
you think I'm an alpha male?
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
definitely an alpha female.
Like what you mean? Like in
Just
what?
strong minded, and you're gonna stand your ground.
Mm,
And even to the point where I find like we would clash. And I saw that with my mother. Like um I was real mouthy with her. And that's what I got from you. I didn't get that from Brandon.
mm.
So then there comes different consequences and things
So
of
you
that
feel like
nature.
we're more alike.
Oh,
Yeah.
no doubt.
So
I used to say, and like in the Bible it says you reap what you sow.
mm,
And when you would get into it or you were mouthy, I would be like, it's not why. I never asked why.
mm,
I used to say, how long is ago? How long, Lord, before I stopped reaping it because I know I gave it to my mom
Mm.
when I was younger.
So like, I know you say I did get into a lot of trouble, but I wouldn't say I was a troubled child. Would you agree with
No,
that?
you weren't a
So
troubled child.
so like which like why do you think I was always in trouble? Like, what you
Everybody,
think it was?
I think that you just was curious and gravitated to things that you didn't have to and didn't need to, but you were curious. And so
Mm,
then that curiosity got you in trouble. And then
mm,
you start liking some of that stuff that you didn't need to get into.
mm. Yeah, I do feel like I've always been curious for better or for worse.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because um and me and my pops we talked about this. Like I feel like he left at like a very
Mhm.
important time in my
Mhm.
life, and I was just kind of like subconsciously trying to find somebody to look up to, or like I don't know, like a family outside of my family.
I don't even think it was subconscious. You were angry.
What?
And
Yeah,
you you
like
were
all that
angry.
is like a blur. Like when he left and stuff. Like
Mhm.
yeah. So you said I was
Oh, you were
angry.
angry.
Mm,
You were accusing me and your
really?
stepdad of at the time of pushing your dad away, and
Mm.
that was never the case. And I don't know if
He's never told me that. Like I don't even remember saying that,
oh
or
yeah.
like I
Oh
don't remember
yeah.
how I felt when he left. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like a lot of my life, it's kind of a blur.
Yeah. So I and that's when I saw the shift in you.
Mm,
You were always curious, but it went pretty dark after he left.
mm,
And I did everything I could like to reel you back in, but in your mind you were pretty like angry.
mm,
And when you blame me, it it takes a it took a life of its own. And with it didn't matter all the counseling, or I would put you in counseling, I got mentors. It really didn't matter. I don't know if you recall, I was reaching out to any male man that
yeah, I
I knew
remember.
that was positive, that could reach you and talk to you.
Yeah, the police
The
officer,
police officer, I had Anton,
Antoine.
yes,
Yeah,
everybody. So
but yeah, I feel like people just gotta sometimes just bump their head. It's
mhm.
like even with people I've dated, I've had like my older homies be like, or even you like be like, nah, like she's not it. But you know what I'm saying? People still they just
You
gotta
got to
bump. They
do it
gotta they gotta
themselves.
figure
Yeah.
out themselves. And then it'd be like, okay, like I see what they was talking about afterwards. So let's even go a little back because like I remember it was a time like even like before my pops was gone, I was like hella young and we was getting into it and you would send me to go stay with him, right?
Hmm.
So what was going on there? Like was it mouth or like
It was just you were very curious, and again, you were alpha male even at that young age. And so at that time I was thinking you need to be with your dad, and that male figure that to be
mm,
with you more than me, not me out of your life, but like the like kind of pushing him to get more, to be there and help me.
mm,
But I recall, like, okay, I'm packing, you going to stay with your dad. And then in 2 weeks, I looked at your report card, your progress report online, and your grades took a nosedive. And I'm like, let me go get him. That's it. And I was like, you're coming home and we're gonna work this out. And then you never went back to that was in middle school, right before he left. And then you didn't go back to stay with him until I think 11th grade.
when I got in trouble.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right, right. If you could if you can go back and do anything different as far as parenting, what 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 would it be if it would be anything?
I I moved there when you were 4 months, and then my mom passed. And I had a desire to move back to Texas and like to move there. And I if I had to do it over, I would not have raised you guys in Oakland.
You would have moved us to Texas?
I would have moved back to Texas.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, my life would probably be
But
totally different.
oh yeah. Yeah. But
Really. I'm
that's what
glad you raised me in Oakland. Like I'm
well,
proud
yeah,
to say
you
I'm
said,
from
I
Oakland,
mean,
and I feel like I survived there. I made it there. I can make it anywhere. You know what I'm
yeah, you
saying?
can.
I'm not scared to go nowhere. Like I was raised in Oakland.
Right. But I just feel like
And that's where you was raised.
yeah, but times were different. We didn't have social media. Like I said, I felt like raising you all were like me against social media and everything that was going on. Like even the video games were so violent. Remember the videos, the
Yeah.
music videos? I used to say, don't watch no video. Don't watch videos. I wouldn't let you watch videos, and I'm sure you guys would sneak and watch them.
Yeah, I remember I used to watch like what was our bedtime, like 9 or something. I had to go to sleep at like 9, and I sneak and watch Flavor Flav.
See?
Yeah, and all the stuff. And then you would be I hear you coming. I used to turn the TV because like my door was over here, and then the TV was like in the corner of the room. I used to turn the TV so you wouldn't see it under the crack of the door, and watch everything that I couldn't watch after 9, or you know what I'm saying. So yeah, but I'm grateful I was raised in Oakland. You got any advice for like a single parent, you know, raising boys, or a boy?
I mean, just what we went through as, mother and son and the struggles, it definitely takes a village. And I, would advise anybody like, don't think you could do this all by yourself. This my child and I got this. It takes a village to raise kids and be grateful for your village if you have one. Definitely have to stay prayed up. Uh um and just never give up. Cause it's times where you want to throw in the towel because it gets so hard. But it's like I remember like when I went and got you from your dad's, I'm like, I'm gonna break him before he break me. Like I'm not gonna give up on him. I can never give up on you. And and you see what we really went through. I was there for you and we made it through, and just that whole story, that's probably another episode to just tell that what happened in the 11th grade. But I I always believed in you, and you just don't ever give up on your kids. You try to push positive positive reinforcement into
Mhm.
them.
Growing up, I was scared of you. I was terrified. Um, was that your intentions for me to be scared of you?
I wanted you to fear in the sense of to respect me. Like I don't want consequences. I I'm afraid that if I do something wrong, my mom, I got to deal with my mom. So I want to be right and live right because I don't want to have to deal with my mom.
So you wanted respect out of fear.
I guess that's pretty much what it was. But that's how you take it because you fearing the consequences because you knew what some of the consequences were. So
Mhm.
that was maybe it was just maybe from your point, it's like I'm fearing her, but I'm thinking like I want respect. I needed respect.
Mm. And you was taught like the ways you discipline me. That's how you was taught by your parents.
I didn't do what my mom my mom like she was hardcore.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
What was it like for you growing up, and is there anything that I don't know? Like, did you ever have any like resentment for your mom, or like any? Yeah, like tell your
never
son.
resentment. I love my mom. No, no, she wasn't perfect. I wasn't perfect. One thing that she didn't do that I wanted to make sure I did with you and Brandon was be able to you all be able to come and talk to me about anything. I went through some challenges as a teenager that if I felt comfortable talking to her, I may not have gone through them, or it would have been different outcome. With you all, I wanted to always feel like you could come talk to me, because that's what I miss with my mom. Like, I couldn't talk to her, but the blessing for me is I had older sisters that I could talk to.
But I feel like I don't feel like I could really talk to you because I was scared of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like I respected you out of fear instead of out of love. And I see now, I got some friends that are mothers, and their kids respect them out of love. Like, they give they give their kids a choice, even like a 10-year-old. Like, all right, do you want to, you know what I'm saying, do you want to do this, or it's not like by force, you know what I'm saying? So
Well, it depends on what it is, because still you're a kid. But I feel like you said that you couldn't come to me, but if you think about it, Chris, you have told me like I think you would fear certain
yeah,
things
yeah,
that were
it
major,
is certain stuff. Yeah,
certain
I
things
had
that
to
was
tell you.
major, that you would be like, I knew you wouldn't tell me, and because you were fearing it. And then when you once you told me and how I responded, you like, shoot, I probably could have told her a long time ago, because
As
I
far as
my
like
react.
what situation you thinking about? We can talk about it. We don't need to say no names. Or are you
Yeah.
are you talking about when I got the girl pregnant for the
Yes.
first?
Yes.
Yes, I was
And
15.
yes.
That's when I got my first girl pregnant, and I do remember. I think I was scared to tell you, but I
And
told you,
then,
and you
and
helped
how
me.
was it? And I just was like, you go man up, and you go be there, and I'm gonna support you guys. It wasn't, there was no bad consequences from me to you. Like, I was there to
Right,
support you,
right,
but
right.
you were afraid to tell me, right?
Yeah, I was.
And
Yeah,
then, I mean, so those type of things.
but I ain't had no choice.
But I'm saying you still was fearing, what is she gonna say?
Mhm.
And it wasn't as bad as you thought.
Did you
It
ever
wasn't
have
bad
like?
as all.
Did
Oh.
you ever have like any regrets or feelings after that? Like, you helped us take care
I
of that.
struggled with that because of her mom. I kind of felt like it was a betrayal, because she kind of had been, kind of befriended me, and not to tell her because you all didn't want. So that was a struggle for me. I
Mm.
don't. Yeah,
You feel
I
like
don't like to betray people.
you still feel like you still
I mean,
feel
I've
like
come
a
to
little.
peace to that.
Right,
No, it's no, that's water under the bridge, and
mm.
things happen how it was supposed to happen.
All right, and back to like your childhood. Um, One thing like I do, like, I'm so grateful for, is that you was so affectionate with me and my brother. Like, you told us you loved us all the time. You hugged us when we was sick. You would take care of us. Like, I would love getting sick damn near. Like, it was like a like bittersweet because I wasn't feeling good, but you would, oh, you need some soup. Like, I feel like you was
Hmm.
so loving. Did you receive that same, like where do you feel like you got that from? Like, did your mom get that same love to you? Or?
My mom was a single mom, and she held us down, and she loved us. She wasn't perfect like I wasn't, but when we were down, she was right there. And I think out of all of us, I think I'm probably the closest to her. Like, I like to entertain. I love to help people. Not that my siblings don't, but I love, like, I have a heart of gold, like wanting to help people and compassionate. But my kids, like, I will ride for you all the time, and just I had to, I made sure it was a balance. Yeah, I disciplined you, but I didn't want to just be a disciplinarian and not love you or whatever, cuz I know close friends who, their nurturing was buying stuff, never saying I love you, never hugging their kids. I know what I needed and loved, and I wanted to give that to you and Brandon. And I didn't ever want you to question, did I love you? I didn't ever want discipline to oversee nurturing and love and
Mhm,
caring, so
mhm,
I want to make sure, you guys felt love. You didn't need to go anywhere else or ever question my love and my dedication to you all. You didn't ask to be here. And I want to make sure I did the best I could.
Mm. Were you scared of your mom?
I was. I
Yeah.
was. Yeah, yeah. Of consequences,
Mhm.
Yeah. But she was loving. She was very sweet and much like my friends used to always go over there even if I'm not there. Like your
Mhm.
friends or someone your friends and Brandon's friends that still connect with me.
Mhm.
That's how my friends were with my mom.
So I never met any of my grandparents. What you said you said my grandma passed. Your mom passed when I was 4 months.
Yes.
See, I don't recollect anything. So I don't know any of my grandparents on your side or my father's side. Did you have your grandparents in your life?
My grandmother died on my mom's side when I was 4 months. And I was
Um,
like, we got to break this curse. Like, pray about this. Like, I don't want this to ever happen. I want my grandkids to know me. I want to stay healthy. I want to, live a healthy life and see my grandkids grow. Oh, my mom died at 60. That's young. That's very young.
how old are you again?
52. Hmm.
Mm. What about your grandpa?
I didn't know any of them.
It's crazy because I feel like we don't really never talk about like your
Hmm.
childhood. I don't even know nothing about my grandpa.
I didn't
What was
know.
that? What was
I never met passed away when my grandmother passed away when I was 4 months.
I'm talking about, but your pops, like my grandpa.
Oh, I didn't know him really, and I didn't. He was in and out.
How you feel like it affected you?
I was angry. He died when I was in 10th grade. I was pregnant with you at 23. So what I was like 8 years later, and I was still angry at a dead man. And at that time, I was going to church and just
Like,
like
angry how? Like what were you angry about?
that he wasn't there. He was the deadbeat, drunk, all of this. So I just held on to that. And it was when I went to church one day and just the Holy Spirit told me like you got to release that. You got a baby growing in you and that's not healthy for me. And so that's how I really start learning to release stuff because it's not healthy for me. And I had to really release that and make sure that you're
How'd you do that?
healthy. I just,
Yeah,
prayed
yeah.
about
How'd you
it.
get
I
on the
prayed about it and I just let it go. I was at church. I remember I was in Killeen, Texas at church and I just let it go. And I
Mm.
was at peace with it ever since. I used to get angry to somebody bring up like, your dad, like, no, like I would get angry. But now it's like, no, I didn't know him. No, I mean, but I think I've had a blessed life. My mom did an amazing job by herself, and I can't harbor on the past. I just can't. I will not do that. It's not healthy.
Scoot over just a little bit because your hair in the tree.
It's-
How do you think not having your pops in your life affected you in your romantic relationships? I know you heard the term daddy issues,
Yeah,
or like, how would you say it affected you in your
I never
romantic
referred to myself as having daddy issues because he never was there. So I always was just like,
But but I feel like that's why a lot of women have that. But like, let's not call it daddy issue. I'm just saying that's what people call them. But I feel like one way or another, it not having our father or our mother there, it affects us in our
it's
romantic
subconsciously.
relationship. So yeah, you don't feel like it affected you anyway in your
I
romantic
don't know. I
relationship.
guess, and I don't know that I would contribute me being a strong black woman to not having my dad around, or if that's just in my DNA. Because if it's in my DNA, but I feel like with me and I didn't tolerate a lot of foolishness. I dealt with foolishness as in relationships, but as I got older, it's like my tolerance. I just I seen a lot of other women deal with a lot more from a man, and maybe I didn't because I saw, my mom didn't, and I just didn't and wouldn't, and I just wanted to be as strong. I'm not sure. I
Mm.
never. I just don't relate like that to
You would
him
say
not
you a
being
you would say you an alpha female, right?
for sure. What would you say?
I think you are alpha female for sure, and I think even I feel like sometimes it would I'm trying to like process what I'm trying to say. It can be intense sometimes, even to like the man you with. You know what I'm saying? I seen my stepfather like feel like sometimes he got walked over. Like where you feel like you get the alpha from? Like do you feel like that's
But what I never
correlation of not
wanted
having
to.
your father around? Like
I don't know. I don't know. But
I feel
never
like
have
that's
I
important.
never have I wanted to emasculate a man or walk over a man. So I think that part, if you feel like you saw that, that's something within him
Mm.
that maybe he allowed or whatever. But never, I've never tried to emasculate. I've seen somebody men being emasculated by their women in public or whatever, and it's it's horrible to me. It's so funny because me and my girlfriend was talking about that yesterday.
What are your deepest fears?
I don't know. I don't think about that. I don't know what. Mm, I can't. I would have to sit here and try to figure out
Or is
something.
there any fears that you're on the other side of now?
I didn't go through life fearing things. Like I really was led by the Holy Spirit. I pray, and things come up. My fear, I guess, is for my kid. I would never want to get a call about you or Brandon that is like in the middle of the night or anything like that, or like I remember I got a call from Brandon and the police was stopping him, and he's on the phone, like, and I'm feeling helpless because I'm all the way in Atlanta and he's there. And so those are fears at me having two black males that are very independent. And I don't say it's a fear, but I pray constantly to protect you guys from all this evil that's in the world.
Mm. How are you afraid to die?
No.
Mm.
When it's my time, it's my time. And I live life to the fullest. I enjoy life and I'm gonna make the best of it. And you know what I say? I said, if people could remember me as just a loving, giving person, and not that I care what people think, but I've enjoyed if and I know that if I pass away, people would say, Shawne loved her kids and enjoyed life and was very kind to people and was a giver. I will volunteer and give and whatever. I'm good. When it's my time, God will take me. I'm not gonna fear death. It's inevitable, right?
Alright. You got any questions for me?
You fear death?
Nah. I feel like I used to be in a lot of fear,
Hmm.
a lot of trauma, a lot of pain I had, a lot of insecurities. Yeah. I think it comes from childhood and also just growing up.
Oh, I have a question.
Mhm.
So, what would you what are things that I did or growing up that you wish I didn't, or you could have changed in my parenting, or things like, well, I wish you could have did XYZ.
I like listened more maybe. Like I like one specific time comes up. I remember I was getting in trouble in class, and he was like, "You got one more time," and so like I straightened it up. I remember going in, I straightened it up, and somebody next to me was talking, and then the teacher was like, I'm gonna call your mom," and he thought it was me, and I was like, "Bro, like that wasn't me. He called you," and I remember like I was so at it. I was telling you like, "Ma, it wasn't me. I was not talking. And you wouldn't hear me." And I remember like my pops, he took me to the house, and I faked like I was about to throw something away on the side of the house. I went through the backyard and I ran to Kente's house. I ran
Mm-hmm.
away because man, I was scared, and it was just like, man, like I'm telling the truth, and like you wouldn't hear me. And my dad picked me up, and I feel like I got one of the worst whoopings that day. Like I
Really?
remember that. I remember, yeah, it was. I remember it was whips still on the wall. Like even after, like
From your dad?
not from
Oh,
you,
from me.
from you. Like he was like, she not gonna whoop you. I was like, Dad, I didn't do nothing. Like she's not gonna hear me. But he was like, just tell me where you are. And I told him, and then he picked me up, and then I still got whooped. And like I feel like I was so hurt. I
Mm-hmm.
was so hurt by that because I like you didn't hear me. You didn't listen to me. I feel like it was just like it was your way. Like is what you say it goes, and nothing else matters. Like
But
even as an adult.
could it have been that, like you said, you have been getting in trouble and getting in trouble with this same teacher? And that's the thing, when you are already, your eyes are on you because you've been acting up. And the one time you're not acting up, you get blamed, and but all these other times you have. So is it could have been that it's not my way, but it's because it's been past. I was basing it on past behavior
Mhm.
because that's what you have been doing. And this time, because I mean, you hear about this type of stuff where people be like, I've been screwing up and doing this, and then the one time you don't, then you blame for something, and it wasn't even you.
Or just like maybe like even like more understanding too. Like I remember it was spring break, the start of spring break, and I had brought a girl home. Like I'm like 15, 16, going through puberty. You caught me with the girl in the crib, and like I don't know, instead of like really having a talk with me, it was just like punishment. Like, and I didn't do nothing that whole spring break, but it's like, man, I'm a kid. I get like I'm not supposed to bring nobody to the crib, but it's like, shit, would you rather have me out here you don't want me in the streets and shit? You know what I'm saying? I just feel like I don't know.
But there was rules.
It was,
Here's the
but
thing. To say now, you have wanted girls over. If I was home, I would allow you to have your friends over, right or wrong, girls and everything. But my rule is no girls in the house when I'm not there. So that's what it was. It wasn't like you couldn't have company and things like that. I think I've been more than fair with you. I would even have let you have girls in your room with the door open when you were young, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, like, but there was a boundary, and my
I
and
didn't I didn't appreciate it at the time.
yeah.
I didn't appreciate it at the time. Got another question. So I remember, like growing up, I would date different races,
Hmm.
and I remember asking you, I was like, "Am I like you?" You always told me like you didn't care who I brought home, like
Hmm.
long as like she loved me and treated me right. But I remember one time you was like, you said something like, "Well, if she was black, I would be happy, like I would be a little happier or something like
Hmm.
that." Like, why is that?
I I mean, because she's more of a representation of me. And a lot of times, and I don't know if you remember, you told me that when you meet someone, you compare them to me, and I'm like, don't ever tell them that you compare. No woman want to be compared to their mom, right? And dating a black young woman would be more of a representation of me. But I also have always said, love who you love, and long as it's for just because of love, not like thinking somebody else is gonna bring you some status, some other status. So I didn't care who you guys brought home, you know, and you would date outside your race. I don't know if you ever knew this. I remember when Brandon was I found out he was dating someone, a black young lady, and he I said, Brand, when you go bring her home, bring her home, I want to meet her. It was the first person. And he was like, Mom, but she's dark skinned. I said, what difference does that make? I don't care, like long as you happy. But I think he was looking at who you have been bringing home. But again, it didn't matter. You guys are so different, and you love and like who you like, and it's not a right or wrong. And even now, like, it's not a right. I embrace. I don't say anything. I just want like the right person for you, but you have to figure that out. You know, like, but their race doesn't bother me.
So I noticed like let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to like more current day. We've been I feel like our our whole life we've been up and down.
For sure.
Why you think that is? Like with like even I noticed it was under your roof we wouldn't get along, and then even like when I went away we started bonding more. But then it would all we I don't know we would always like fall off somewhere. And I remember like I know you always be like, oh, like you don't respect me, like you don't respect me. But everywhere you go, anywhere anybody you meet, they tell you I'm this respectful, loving person. So what's the disconnect here? Like,
Well, again, I think it's one, we're both alpha male, male, female. So that strong mindedness, it clashes. But that doesn't negate the fact that I raised you to be very loving and respectful. So outside of me, and if you talk to other people, you see some people be like, my mom get on my nerves, or this and this, or my dad. But they what they were taught at home, it's a difference. Like they're going, I raised you to be respectful and kind and loving and considerate with women, and be very respectful to women. So you're going to do what I raised you to do, but you're going to somehow, I don't know why, you know, kids a lot of times may butt heads with their parents, but what their parents instill, they take that out and they apply it.
but I feel like I mean I feel like a lot of parents they demand respect, but they don't necessarily respect they kids or like give they kids the same respect they expect from them. And I think sometimes
I think you
that
got
was
caught up.
that was the case, huh?
I think you got caught up on thinking I didn't respect you. I admired you. You were you I admired you so much. I think you were so caught up on she don't respect. I think it literally was in your head. She don't respect me. And I would, as much as I would tell you or whatever, and then little things I would do, you're like, well, you don't respect me, like you said, like I extended someone else, your services for someone else. Never. So when you said it, it's like she don't even respect
That's what I
me.
say. I feel like you
But
never checked yourself, like, or asked
I didn't
yourself
think that.
these questions, like, "Am I respecting him?" It was just like, "No, I need my respect." And then I would try, like, I feel like I wasn't really heard a lot.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think in a parent daughter or son relationship, like that's important, and like that you see you when especially when your child becomes of age
Hmm.
or is an adult we equals now. Like, yeah, I raised you, but you know what I'm saying? You don't owe me nothing. At the end of the day, you don't owe me nothing, and I don't owe you nothing but love. And with love comes respect. So I feel like it's very important that parents give the same respect that they expect
Hmm.
from their kids.
And I didn't, certain things that you found disrespectful, I didn't think they were being I thought they they weren't disrespectful because I wasn't blatantly ever disrespecting you. So that's where, I needed to take a look at, well, and hear you like, well, this is what you disrespected me by offering my services. And I didn't look at it like that. But I hear you, you know what I mean? So, but it was never intentional. But, and then Brandon, I could do that same thing to Brandon and he'll be like, okay, and never feel like that's disrespectful. Why you didn't ask me? But I can't go by, well, because it's not disrespectful to Brandon. It's you feel like it's disrespect. I gotta respect
Oh
that.
yeah, and also yeah,
You
but
know what I'm saying?
and I feel like that would also be happen a lot too. It'd be like you would kind of throw in my face like how Brandon reacted to you versus me. Like, how do you feel like that was the best approach?
It wasn't that I throw it. It was just certain things that I, with you, like Brandon is more easygoing. You go question everything, and sometimes I don't need the questions. I just need some results or something to do. Like, okay. So if I know that he's just gonna be like, "Well, okay," I just go to him. So it's not that I was wanting to throw it in your face, but sometimes I just don't want the back and forth. That strong alpha male coming at me. I just don't. So if I didn't have to ask you, I wouldn't.
Mm.
I raised you guys to be strong, but Brandon is not. He's not like mouthy like you. I'm mouthy. You get it from me. I was like that. Or like you're gonna stand your grounds with people. And I
Right, mother or not, like
no,
father, mother, grandmother.
and
Like
you know
if you
me
can't
too.
respect, like if you can't respect me, it's gonna be a issue or it's gonna be a disconnect. It's not gonna be an
But
issue. It's gonna be a disconnect, and like that's where I gotta set a boundary. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like yeah, man. Like I don't think just cause oh this is your parent, you gotta settle for or put up with like any disrespect or like
but
any judgment. Like I feel like as a kid it was like labels put on me. Like I used to be ashamed that I was sensitive because like you would tell me in a way that it didn't feel like it was more like condemning. You know what I'm
that's what
saying?
I was trying to do, but I was explaining to trying to explain. But remember we talked about that where it's like you can't sensitive being sensitive as a man and being is compassion is great, but like every time somebody do some little thing it's like you blow it up to something more, like that's not what I mean. Or like when with you I could say something like this look good and he's like, my I heard how you said it. You really don't mean it. It's like, no, I do, because I just said it looks good. Don't tell me what I said. Like it was like, don't look for the negative with everything I say. Cause I have always been 100, keep it real with you. And I always have my motto growing up, or it's like I try to look at a glass half full, not half empty. So that means I really want to instill positive energy in you and and Brandon, and just look at things as positive. Like I mean, like
Yeah,
I,
like I know you always had good intentions. I already
nobody's
know that.
perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know you always had good intentions. But what I'm saying? I think it's very mindful that, what I'm saying, parents in general, like know that your kids is like your kids look at you like a superhero. So whatever you tell them, like they're gonna take that in and they're
Hmm.
gonna they're gonna run with it. So I think it's very important like how we deliver things,
For
the
sure.
the the attitude behind it,
Hmm.
and the delivery is very important.
For sure.
But what I'm saying, I love you. You raised a great man. Um, I'm proud to call you my mom.
Yeah.
There's saying you're loving, you're giving, caring, so many great attributes about you that you've instilled in me that's rubbed off on me. So I'm grateful for that. And on the podcast, I have a segment where we say like I was that guy that blank blank. You say something that you got on the other side of. So something you was that woman that blank, and you're now on the other side of it. What's something you would say you're on the other side of now?
I am that woman that would go from 1 to 100 easily. Now I'm on the other side, and I don't let people steal my joy and peace and get me to 100.
Mm. All right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um. Well, yeah, man. I feel like that was a healing conversation.
Yeah, this is
I'm
great.
glad you out here. I'm glad you was my first guest,
This has been amazing.
and I'm glad that we reconnected. Like
Yes.
we was up and down for the last 2 years,
Yeah.
and yeah, man. I feel like we've had some healing conversations over the phone that have got us to this moment.
Yeah.
And it all happened how it was supposed to. So I just want to let everybody out there know that everything is happening for you. If you're going through something with your parent, there's a lesson for you in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're going through with anybody, focus on your lesson, because there's always a lesson for you.
Yes.
When you focus on the pain, you'll continue to suffer. When you focus on the lesson, you'll continue to grow.
All right.
And we growing, we healing.
Yes.
I'm so glad that you're open to
Mhm.
these new practices of life that I've implemented. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that you're interested in mushrooms. And
I
we
don't
gonna
know
watch a
about
documentary
that.
after this. I mean, you know what I'm saying, if you take them or not, I still accept you, but yeah, I'm just glad that you open to it. It's a lot of parents that aren't open to these things. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm glad that I can talk to you about where I'm at.
Yes.
As far as like relationship wise, my
Mhm.
views on marriage. Like, I'm glad that you accept me.
Yeah.
And I can talk to you about anything now from the work we've done. And I love you.
I love you too.
Mhm. That's the other side. I'm gonna see y'all on the other side.
See you on the other side.
Boom. That was great.
That was great.
Great.
No. That was great. I'm so excited.
Was that one still going?